Hello everyone and welcome to today's session. My name is Shantanu. I'm working as a lead premier support specialist with BMC software. Today I'll talk on one of the interesting topics of CMDB, which is the Helix CMDB portal. In this webinar, I hope you will learn the features and uses of the portal and can implement it effectively in your business organization. Topics which I am going to cover during this session are mentioned in the agenda. We will first go through the overview of the Helix CMDB portal. I will also talk about the various functions and features from the portal. There are some key configuration which needs to be in place for your CMDB to function properly. So we will see those key configurations as well. And then we will have a brief walkthrough demo. Most of the functions in an organization requires accurate information about the CIs and its relationships. This is to drive the business and daily operations. This information should be managed and maintained in a trusted source. Helix CMDB is a component which stores such needed information. It is a component for the use of end users, configuration managers, and your CMDB administrators. Users who are responsible for CI data management within the scope of their roles can use the portal to do the regular task. With the latest versions, BMC has enhanced the user experience with this improved UI design, leading to the increased engagement and satisfactions for the end users. The Helix CMDB portal uses latest development technologies like HTML, Angular-based scripts. It also uses Jetty-based web servers, which makes portal more secured and faster than the earlier Flash-based Atrium Core console. Users in an organization can access all the features and configurations from the single UI screen. Features user can access actually varies based on the groups and roles they are assigned to. So if a user needs all features to be accessed, then this user should be provided with administrator group permission. There are some users who only needs access to create and edit CIs, then this user should have an asset admin permissions. So this works on the permission model provided by Remedy. Features such as health metrics, data sources, data flows, consolidated configuration consoles are available to manage the CMDB task. Let's talk about these features and functions. I'll cover these features in a walkthrough demo as well. In a daily operations, to manage the CIs and its relationships, it's important to find the correct CIs without any complex searches. For example, the quick CI search feature enables users to search CIs based on the specific class and its attributes in a more faster way. Users can build queries to search not only individual CIs but CIs with specific relationships as well. This makes the searches more easy to perform. You can also export the search results in a CSV file. Now, how about having the single screen with your CMDB data metrics, its health, job metrics, and other important information? It would be really helpful, right? So we do have a nice dashboard which works on a data-driven approach and shows CMDB metrics. For example, the health metrics shows the completeness and integrity of your CMDB CI data. And if it finds any data inconsistencies, then it shows the recommended actions as well to correct the data. This is important for a business and helps in keeping consistent data in CMDB. There is a data flow section which provides details of how data flows into your CMDB from collection to consumption. This data flows includes components such as normalization, reconciliation activities like identification and merge, CI updates, and finally a consumer. It's important to manage and monitor the CMDB jobs for the CMDB administrator. During daily activities, these jobs can be managed from the CMDB portal. It includes your normalization, reconciliation, as well as Atrium integrator jobs. Customer CMDB environments in general has more than one data sources which feeds data in it. So administrators can manage the different data sources and its associated data sets via the same CMDB portal. Now, when it comes to the end users who are having appropriate permissions and roles for creating CIs manually or updating the CIs manually, they can perform this task via CMDB portal. They can update the key attribute values for the CI data. Helix CMDB portal also has a predefined queries which can be mapped to the classes. These queries are used for the incidents created by monitoring tool events like TSOM, and CMDB REST API uses these queries to perform the search and add CI information to incident record. Please note that you must have monitoring tool configured and integrated to use class query mappings. Helix CMDB portal also comes with a feature called dynamic service modeling. This can be used to create or maintain the service model automatically if the CIs contributing to the business service or technical service are changing frequently. This saves the manual efforts to create the required relationships. Please note that for complex service and data models, it's recommended that such service models should come from the discovery sources like BMC Helix Discovery Solution. Now let's talk about some key configurations which are important for the overall CMDB functions to work. The set of configurations includes the core configuration in which CMDB admin can configure the parameters for CMDB engine. Core configurations for normalization engine like batch jobs parameters, plugin server parameters for normalization engines, RPC queues, putting the or creating the logging levels, logging paths for the CMDB jobs. Similarly, the required core configurations for reconciliation CMDB services can be added via core configurations. Apart from core configurations, there are options to manage the rules for normalization and reconciliation components, where admin can set up normalization features, reconciliation ID rules, precedences, and other parameters. The dashboard which we see with the health metrics also needs to be configured and scheduled from the configuration function. We'll talk about these key configurations and features in a demo. Let's start with the CMDB portal demo. There are two methods to access the CMDB portal. One is via mid-tier and the other is with the direct URL access. I'll show you how we can configure the URL for CMDB portal launch. I am already logged in to my ITSM instance via mid-tier. To configure the URL, we need to configure it in the centralized configuration. So I will go to Application Launcher, AR System Administration Console. From General, there is option to open the centralized configuration. Under centralized configuration, we need to configure it under com.bmc.arcsys server shared component. Two setting names we need to consider to configure the URL. One is JT port. So here you can see the JT port is configured as 8008 setting value. This is typically a default value for JT port. The other parameter which we need to configure is redirect URL. In the redirect URL option, we need to provide cmdb dot your AR server name configured in the mid-tier, followed by colon, followed by URL of jt.html. So this will come as your base URL slash cmdb slash index.html. Once you provide this setting value, click apply. So your cmdb launch URL will get configured via mid-tier. Now from the mid-tier, we can go to Atrium Core and click on Configuration Manager Dashboard. It will bring us to the Helix CMDB portal. We will see the different features and functions now. So let's talk about the dashboard. The health metrics section provides two CMDB health indicators that track the exceptions for integrity and completeness. So integrity is this health indicator tracks the orphan and duplicate CIs in the production dataset, whereas the completeness tracks the CIs with missing attributes in the production dataset. The green part of the indicator represents the percentage of successful CIs, whereas the red part shows the exception of the CIs for this particular health metric. Below health metric, we can see the data flow component, which includes your data sources, imported CIs, normalization, reconciliation with the two activities, identification and merge, CI update and consumers. Data sources are the sources where the data is coming into your CMDB. Imported CIs shows the number of CIs which are imported. Similarly, for the normalized CIs, these are the number of records processed and number of records failed. We can see similar numbers for the reconciliation section as well, the number of records processed and number of records failed. And the CI update section, it shows the number of CIs updated successfully. There are two filters to see the details in data flow section. You can filter it based on the data set as well as the time frame. So if I want to see what is the data flow looks like in last 7 days, you can select last 7 days and then the number appears here. CMDB admin can configure these health metric KPIs and data flow component from the configuration menu option. So we go to the configure dashboard and data sources section. Here admin can configure the number of classes the dashboard utility can process concurrently. This configuration parameter is applicable to process the duplicate CIs. Similarly, admin configuration number of processor threads and number of reader threads per class. Below this, we can see the configuration for KPIs. You can specify the classes you want to exclude while processing CIs for completeness and integrity. So for example, if I want to exclude any class, I can mention it here. Similarly, for duplicates, for example, we have excluded the BMC core BMC underscore IP endpoint class. For orphans also, we have excluded requestable offering class. So basis on the requirement, CMDB admin can exclude the classes for completeness, duplicates and orphan parameters. This exclusion can also be configured for the data source utility. Once you configure this parameter, you can schedule the time to run these utilities and gather the required data. We can do it via the schedule option. Please note that the runtime for these utilities should not be overlapped and should have at least 1 hour difference. So you can have the schedule on off option for both data sources and dashboard utilities. You can mention the time for refreshing the data for dashboard and for data sources. Data changes takes effect once the utility is refreshed after runtime. I will now show how effectively a CMDB user can use the search functionality. At the top, you can see the option for searching the CI. Let's first do a quick search. There are options for quick search and there are some advanced options as well. So for quick search, you can search the CI in specific data set for a particular CMDB class, and you can give the criteria for the attribute qualification as well. Like for example, you want to search a CI with the name, or if you want to search any other CI with a different attribute, you can provide that attribute as well. So I'll search a CI in bmc.asset dataset for a computer system CI, and I'll provide the attribute as name. So let's see with this search criteria. So this gives us the search result. There are 6 CIs with this search criteria. You can also export this search result in a CSV format. If there are multiple pages you want to export, you can do that as well. So there are 2 options. One is current page and the other is the multiple page option. The other option to search the CIs are the advanced option. So I go to computers. Under computer, you'll have the option to search the computer basis on these attributes. You can also search the computers with installed product on it, computers with OS, and computers running application. So I'll try to search computer with OS, and if I search it with BMC underscore %, this gives me the search result. So this CI is related with the operating system CI, and that's why it gave us the result, computers with OS. Similar way, you can search the services as well. So you can search business services, technical services, or other services. The parameter or the search criteria you can give with the name, and you can search that business service. Other option is to have your own query. So I go to new query. Here under the class palette, you can see the classes from which you can search the CI data. And here not only a CI, but if you want to see a CI with particular relationship, that search can also be done from here. So for example, if I want to search a business service CI which is having relationship with the application CI, so I will take application and business service CI in the pane, and here I can mention the relationship type. So source is business service, my destination is application, it is the dependency relationship type, and I want to search for minimum 1 and maximum 1 values from the hierarchy. So I'll save this and I will validate and search. So in the search result, you can see there is one business service. This business service is related with the application CI and it appeared in our search result. So this is the query which we formed. You can see BMC business service related to BMC core application CI. For the reuse of this query, you can save this query. You can define the category under which this search query should appear. I'll put business service query and I'll give a name, business service related to app, and I save this query. So you see search query is created successfully. If you click on this drop down, you'll see the section business service query and we have a BS related to app query which we saved. So you can reuse this query as and when required. Let's now look at the job section from the CMDB portal. This job section will provide the functionality to manage the normalization, reconciliation, or the Atrium integrator job. So I'll go to manage normalization first. It brings you to the normalization panel where it shows us the job details, the total number of jobs, how many jobs are executed. Along with that, it also shows us the number of CIs, the total number of CIs, how many CIs are successfully processed, how many of them are resulted in an error. Similar data it shows for the relationships as well. You can see the listed jobs here. So we have 2 jobs for now in this instance. You can also create a new job from this console. So I click on create job and the administrator or the user can create a normalization job here. You need to provide the required details, job name, for which data set you want to create this normalization job. So that data set you can mention here. There are options to allow new product catalog entry or allow unapproved CIs. So accordingly you can select these options. There are certain normalization features which you can use in your job, like suit roll up. You want to update the relationship name with normalization, if you want to give instance level permissions, or do the impact analysis with the normalization. These jobs can be scheduled. You can schedule it on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. I'll go to the manage reconciliation section now. Similar to the normalization section, this also provides us total number of jobs executed, how many are pending, and the details of the number of CIs and relationship processed successfully and with the error. Here also you can create the job from the reconciliation console. These are the two filters by which you can see the required jobs. So for example, if I want to see the jobs with the specific activities, I can select that, and I can also select the time frame for last 7 days, 30 days, or last 60 days, or for today how many jobs are there with the reconciliation process. There is an option for the data sources as well, from where you can manage your data sources or you can add a new data source. So if I click on manage data sources, it will show you the data sources which are there feeding data into the CMDB. So there are total 7 data sources, and you can see the statistics as well. Like for example, there are 2 data sources with the errors, and one is ADDM and the other is sandbox dataset. Administrator or user can take actions appropriately basis on the errors. You can add a new data source from here. You can also add the dataset from here. So this data source and dataset is a one-to-one mapping. So if you click on add data source, it will give you an option to add the required source. You need to provide the name, description, and there is option where you can define who is your data provider. Is it API, is it Atrium integrator, or manual, or any other provider type. So accordingly you can mention and save this data source. You can also add the dataset. So datasets are logical component in your CMDB which segregates the data logically, and you can add such datasets depending on the source where you can provide the required details and save this dataset for your use. So now let's see the CI section of the CMDB portal. So there is a CI update. From this CI update, we can get the details of the CIs which are added or edited in the BMC.asset dataset. So you can see here there is one CI which is added. There are 3 CIs which are edited. So it will be easy for the user to see what has been updated in the BMC.asset dataset. So class query mapping comes with the predefined queries as we discussed earlier. So these queries are used by the incidents, by the monitoring tool events like TSOM. So you can see here the category is TSOM, and for this we need to have the monitoring tool configured and integrated in place. Then let's go and see the dynamic service modeling. Dynamic service modeling we can use to create or maintain the service model automatically. So if we want to maintain a service model where I want to relate the CIs which are having a primary capability as server to this business service called BS_banking. So I can create a query where I'll select a computer system class and I'll mention the criteria for the computer system. Its primary capability should be server. Let me save this. Give this query a name, DSM BS server query. We can test this query to see if it returns the results. So there are 3 CIs which are having primary capability as a server. So it returns those results. I click on OK and I'll save this query. So you see this dynamic service modeling is created successfully. So go here and you see this query runs every 30 hours. You can change the setting from here if you want to run it for time interval basis on minutes, hours, or days. So once this query runs, it will find all the computer system CIs with primary capability as server, and it will relate those CIs to this business service called BS_banking. Users can also create a CI from this section. So you need to click on create CI, select the dataset in which you want to create the CI, and select the class. So if I select asset sandbox and if I select a class computer system, it will give me the name and short description to enter. I'll save this. It takes you to the explorer from where you can edit the CI. You need to go to edit mode and then you can edit this instance. Edit instance will open the core computer system form because this is yet in asset sandbox dataset. So you can mention the different parameters for it and save this record in asset sandbox dataset. So once this asset sandbox job runs, it will get reconciled to the bmc.asset dataset. Let's now see the rebranding of CMDB, where you can change the colors and logos for the CMDB portal. This will be useful if your company uses different colors or logos, and accordingly you can match that with the CMDB portal. Please note that the logo will get changed in the CMDB portal only. The login page will be the same. So to configure the rebranding, we need to configure certain parameters in the backend form for this rebranding purpose. So I'll open a form called UI component. So this is the name of the form, bmc.core:config bmc_UI component, where we need to configure the details. I'll create a new request. Please note that before configuring this detail, keep the hex color codes ready with you so that we can provide the hex color code here. So in the new request, first we need to provide the component name. So we'll provide the component name as custom scheme parameters, and then we have a component tags. So this tag references to the different components of the CMDB portal. We do have a nice documentation for the rebranding where it mentions what these component tags are exactly. So we need to put the hex color codes in these tags now. Let me put that. Now I have mentioned the component tags. We will only change the colors. We will not add any logo file for this demo, and component type you need to keep it as none. Let me save this record. So you see the following instance has been successfully created. So the configuration has been created. We need to go to the Helix CMDB portal and refresh it. So now you can see it has changed the colors as we provided the hex color codes in the configuration. So now you see the colors has been changed as per the provided configurations. This is how you can rebrand or change the color and logos for the CMDB portal. In a summary, we have covered below topics in today's webinar, which are accessing and navigating CMDB portal. We saw rebranding of the CMDB portal. We have also discussed core configuration, CMDB data management. We also showcased different configuration parameters and details about the reconciliation and normalization jobs. We have also covered the CI search and dynamic service modeling use cases during today's webinar. You can refer to these links for more information and knowledge about the CMDB. Thank you very much for attending today's webinar. Please subscribe to our Helix ITSM and Discovery channel, including CMDB. Thank you.